This is the MOZA R5 and it's MOZA Racing's entry-level direct drive wheelbase bundle at $599. But is this bundle worth the money? And does it cater to both the casual and competitive sim racer? Well, today we'll be taking a look at everything you need to know about it, as well as giving it a score out of 10 using our PUPS review system. Now, MOZA Racing did send me this bundle for the purpose of the review, however my opinions are completely honest and uncensored. First, taking a look at the R5 wheelbase, it's outputting a peak torque of 5.5 Newton meters housed in an aviation grade aluminium casing. The wheelbase boasts a fairly compact form factor at roughly 17.5 centimeters and utilizes an easy to use NRG quick release system. It's able to be mounted easily to a desk or a cockpit using the included and mostly pre-assembled table mount. Now onto the ES steering wheel, which is roughly 280mm in diameter. It features a stitched leather wheel rim, built-in rev LED bar, and 18 push buttons paired with a directional pad. Lastly, the included SRP light pedals feature a 2-pedal spring-loaded hall sensor braking system. The pedal plate comes with anti-slip pads pre-attached and offers a pedal distance customization with the ability to attach a third clutch pedal. Now this wheelbase is PC only, so if you're a console user, then you'll need to give this one a miss. Opening the box, we're met with the MOZA ES steering wheel, followed by the wheelbase and pedals packaged underneath. Alongside the main components, we've got the required power supply, USB and RJC cable, as well as small bags containing the mounting screws, Allen keys, and the instruction booklet paired with some branded sticker sheets. Mounting the wheelbase was fairly easy with minimal assembly, although there is some criticism for the included mount. To attach the wheelbase to the included table mount, first turn the wheelbase upside down and ensure the shaft is facing towards you. Then place the table clamp onto the wheelbase and line it up so that the holes on the wheelbase match up with the first 4 holes on the mount. Fasten using the included bolts, then place the finished product onto your desk and tighten the 2 mounting bolts. Mounting the wheelbase to a cockpit is just as easy, simply line the mounting holes up with the required holes on your cockpit's wheel plate. Now on my next level racing stand, I found that only 2 of the holes would line up. And if you encounter this issue yourself, then there's no need for panic. Mounting using only 2 holes is fine as long as you ensure that those 2 holes are the ones at the back of the wheelbase and not the front. But if you'd rather not do this, then simply mounting using the table clamp like I did works just as well with no noticeable flex. What I found disappointing though was the lack of angle adjustment on the table mount due to its one-piece construction. I would have preferred a 2-piece assembly in order to give us the ability to slightly adjust the angle facing of the wheel. Now the pedals do come pre-assembled, but if you don't feel comfortable with their current distance or want to attach a third clutch pedal, then adjusting that is fairly easy. Simply undo the 4 bolts attached to whichever pedal you want to change, then slide the pedal across the pedal plate and line it up with the required holes. Fasten the bolts and then plug the RJC cable back in. Mounting the pedal plate to a cockpit was also quite easy, with plenty of different mounting holes to accommodate the various patterns of pedal plate on the market. The wheel also attaches to the wheelbase easily. Simply ensure the arrow above the quick release system is center, then line up the balls on the wheel's quick release with the holes on the wheelbase and push forward. Removing the wheel from the wheelbase is also really simple. Just place your hand on the wheel's quick release and pull it backwards, then pull away. When it comes to using the wheelbase, there's some good and not so good points to cover here. First off and most importantly, the force feedback feels incredibly smooth. Probably the best I've felt in any of these entry-level wheelbases that I've used so far. There was zero notchy or grainy feeling when turning the wheel, with no noticeable flex on it whatsoever. The force feedback provided was always clear and it made it easy to understand what was happening with the car at all times. Curbs felt nice and harsh and I could easily notice the weight transfer in the car as it was happening, making it really easy to catch slides. Now I tested the wheelbase in most of the mainstream simulators like Assetto Corsa, iRacing, Le Mans Ultimate and Assetto Corsa Competizione, and the 5.5 Newton meters was more than enough to give me an enjoyable driving experience. In fact, in some cases like in ACC, I actually needed to turn the overall strength down slightly because the resistance when turning the wheel was too strong. In fact, the overall driving experience from the wheelbase was so good that I could easily recommend it to any sim racer from the casuals all the way up to the competitive racer. My experience with the SRP light pedal set, however, wasn't as good. The main issue being that there's just not enough resistance in the brake pedal. Now I usually race with shoes, but even when using socks, I just found it way too easy to push the brake pedal down to full. So when driving cars that don't feature an ABS system like in Le Mans Ultimate, I just found myself locking up again and again because I couldn't form that muscle memory in my head, and I wasn't able to modulate my braking foot due to the lack of resistance in the pedal. However, MOZA did also send me their brake performance kit accessory, which did improve the experience considerably. It was really easy to install and gave me that resistance that I was looking for. and I found that the spring and rubber in the kit made it much easier to modulate my braking. This kit, however, is not included in the bundle, but admittedly it is reasonably priced at $22 US. So if you're a casual sim racer who plays games like Forza or just wants to use it for traffic maps on Assetto Corsa, then you should be fine with the standard pedal set. However, if you're more of a competitive driver and want a good feeling of control over the brake pedal, then I definitely recommend purchasing the performance kit because the standard SRP light pedals just won't get the job done. Now the wheel itself felt sturdy and comfortable to use, the paddle shifters felt satisfying, and the majority of buttons were easily reachable. However, there are some negative points here. First, I'm disappointed that MOZA didn't go with a fully round wheel design, which means that it doesn't accommodate for people who like to do drifting or rally racing. If you mainly do road racing, however, then you'll be fine with this. Next, the Rev LED bar lacks any color customization, and I felt that it wasn't bright enough even on the highest setting, which made it hard to notice when racing in the dark, let alone in a well-lit room. The buttons themselves also lack any kind of backlighting, which can make using them in the dark a little difficult. I would have also preferred if the radio and start buttons were replaced with rotary encoders for those on-the-fly changes for things such as traction control. However, there are a good amount of fully bindable buttons here to help making the majority of controls in the sim easily accessible. Now when it comes to their software, MOZA have done a really good job here. The MOZA Pithouse app was easy to install, and all the major components of the bundle were updated to their latest firmware with the click of one button. There's a multitude of customization available, from the actual force feedback to the input curve on all of your pedals. I also love that MOZA included descriptions to help us understand what each option did. This is great for beginners because it doesn't just overwhelm them with features, but gives them the tools to take advantage of them all. There's also the free MOZA Pithouse app, which is available on all iOS and Android devices. It gives users the ability to tweak the core settings of the wheelbase and the pedals on the fly, which is definitely a nice additional touch. However, I don't think I'd ever be in a position where I'd need to use it. Now, comparing the price of the MOZA R5 bundle to some of its competitors, it's definitely on the higher end. First, looking at the CAMMUS C5, which outputs a similar strength in force feedback, we can see a difference of 130 USD. However, we've tested the C5 here previously, and when it comes to the force feedback and driving feel, there's just no competition. The R5 wins here easily, to the point where I'd happily pay the extra $130. Now looking at the Fanatec CSL DD 5Nm bundle, we have a difference here of $60. Now we can't comment on the performance difference as we haven't reviewed the CSL DD. However, looking at the specs, things look rather similar apart from the CSL wheel, which features a 300mm size and customizable telemetry meter, albeit with 4 less buttons than the R5. Important to note here as well is at the time of conducting this review, the R5 bundle is currently on sale at $459. And if you're looking at racing competitively, then you'll definitely need to purchase the brake performance kit, because the included SRP light pedals in their base state simply aren't adequate enough for that level of driving. I really wish, however, that MOZA had given buyers the option to purchase the wheelbase without the pedals. This would allow them to save a bit of money and then put that towards a proper set of load cell pedals, for example the MOZA SRP set. So that was the MOZA R5 Direct Drive wheelbase. Now let's give it a score out of 10. So overall, the R5 bundle presents as a valid entry point into the world of direct drive sim racing. All the major components are of good quality with no noticeable flex during use, but a little disappointed in the decision to not use a fully round wheel rim to accommodate for all styles of driving, giving it a score of 1.5. Now on to usability. Setup was extremely simple with the majority of components pre-assembled. However, definitely a missed opportunity not to allow angle adjustment in the wheelbase mount itself. All buttons and features on the wheel performed as expected. However, the slightly dim Rev LED strip and the lack of backlit buttons can make using them in darker room environments a bit difficult, giving it a score of 1.5. For performance, the wheelbase itself exceeded expectations. Force feedback was both extremely smooth and detailed for a wheelbase in this price range. The MOZA R5 is a perfect example of how a small 5Nm wheelbase can be all you need in order to feel everything you need to push the car to its limits. The same, however, can't be said about the included SRP light pedals. Brake control and modulation wasn't really possible, and the brake performance kit is a must if you want to have a decent control over the braking process. However, if you're more of a casual sim racer that doesn't take it too seriously, then the included pedals should be adequate for your needs. That being said, the performance of the wheelbase itself left such a good impression, and it's definitely got the best driving feel out of any entry-level wheelbase set that I've tried. And for that, I'm still inclined to give it a full score of 2. Onto pricing, and the R5 bundle does price noticeably higher than the similar spec wheelbases from its competitors. However, it straight up outperforms the cheaper CAMMUS C5 to the point where I'd gladly pay the extra cost. You definitely get what you're paying for here. I would, however, prefer that buyers were given the option of excluding the pedals from the bundle in order to save money towards some proper load cell pedals. This gives it a score of 1.5. Now last up, MOZA have done a great job with their pit house software. It's easy to set up and there's plenty of customizable options available here to tailor your driving experience to you. But what stood out the most for me here was the fact that they didn't just throw a bunch of features at you, but took the time to explain them all, which is great for beginners, giving it a score of 2 for a total of 8.5. So is the MOZA R5 worth a buy? Well, I'd definitely say it is. It's really impressive to see how accessible direct drive wheelbases have become price-wise now, and the R5 is a great example of this, offering an engaging driving experience for both casual and competitive sim racers alike. However, if MOZA could make some slight revisions to the design choices with the included pedals and steering wheel, then we could possibly have the perfect entry-level wheelbase on our hands here. Now hopefully this review helped you out, and if it did, then let me know in the comments section below. But thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.